Hi everyone, it's Alyssa Korn with Investors Business Daily and welcome to Investing Strategies. On this episode, we're speaking with executives of two hot growth companies on the heels of their estimate-beating quarterly earnings reports. The CEO of Zscaler explains what's behind the security software firm's strong billings growth and how the remote working environment has impacted its business. And Etsy's CFO fills us in on how the e-commerce platform has been able to successfully scale up and what's expected to fuel Etsy's future as its customer base continues to expand. Plus, Adobe is one of IBD's long-term leaders, boasting strong, steady fundamentals and share price gains over extended periods. The head of Adobe's enterprise business tells us how the software giant shifted priorities amid the pandemic. Investing Strategies starts right now. Security software stock Zscaler is a member of IBD's leaderboard, underscoring its strong qualities as a leading growth stock. Zscaler is coming off of an estimate-beating quarterly report, and joining us now with key perspective is the company's CEO, Jay Chaudhry. Thanks so much for being here today, Jay.
Alyssa, appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic. So Zscaler just turned in a quarterly report that topped Wall Street expectations. You had a fourth quarter in a row of accelerating sales growth, up 55% for the quarter. Very impressive. So give us your overall thoughts on the company's performance in the last quarter.
Alyssa, the market is coming to us. When I started the company over 10 years ago, it was the dream that people will want to work from anywhere and applications would be out there anywhere in the cloud, SaaS applications or data center. It shouldn't matter where people are. They should be able to have direct and fast access to those applications. So the world has been moving in that direction. Digital transformation is happening. We were designed for that world. We built a great platform. We have great customers. Over 500 of the global 2,000 companies depend upon Zscaler. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to serve our customers. And especially in the COVID time, when every customer wanted to have their employees to work from home, we were there to support our customers.
Yeah, sounds like your dreams becoming a reality, and this past year seems to be the moment where those things are really coming to fruition. And strong billings growth was also a notable metric in the quarterly report. So what's driving that?
Our growth is across the board. We got new customers who are buying things, buying Zscaler platform. We got existing customers who are buying more and more parts of the platform. So it's combination, new business, upsell business, then it's across all geos. We have strong presence in the US, but about 50% of revenue comes from outside the US. So strong presence in Europe, Asia Pac, Japan, across the board. So all areas are doing very well. And customers like Siemens out there, customers like Shell, they're all buying and deploying our solutions. They start in one area, then they expand to the data center. Now they're expanding to IoT and OT systems. They need to protect the factories. OT systems are fairly old. They want to be modernized. And Zero Trust platform we offer is actually helping them to come away from old legacy security, which is done with firewalls, doing castle and moat model. If you're in, you're good. If you're out, you're not good. That model is totally broken. We reinvented security, where you don't need to think about inside the castle, outside the castle, because applications have left the castle. They're in the cloud. Users have left the castle too. So they're working from anywhere. So we are the ideal solution, and the legacy solutions need to change. It's almost like going away from DVD players to watch your videos, to just clicking on Netflix and watching what you want to watch.
So a huge transformation happening, and looking ahead, you're expecting to see more strong growth. So what trends are contributing to the company's outlook, and what areas of the business do you expect to really be driving and fueling that growth?
So first of all, things like COVID, things like SolarWinds attack that happened, they're merely catalyst to the digital transformation that's happening. Every CEO wants its business to be agile and competitive. For that, CIOs are embracing cloud, where they could build and deploy applications at a much faster pace. When they do so, the network changes, security changes, and we become the enabler. We become the foundation of application transformation and security transformation. So the faster transformation happens, the more we are needed. That's number one. Number two, we are the platform. We are not a point product that fixes one thing. Customers want to consolidate. They want to simplify. And with the platform, there's not just better security, better cost reduction, there's also great user experience. So all those areas are driving our business growth.
There are other security software players out there in the market. You've talked about what makes Zscaler unique. Can you build on that a little bit and tell us also what gives Zscaler its competitive edge?
Technology changes all the time, but there's some mega shifts that come from time to time. Cloud was such a mega shift. Siebel used to dominate sales software, CRM software. Then came Salesforce. It changed the way software is done because it built a cloud native software. What's the last time you heard of Siebel? I haven't. PeopleSoft used to dominate HR systems. Then came Workday, built a totally new architecture. In the same way, Zscaler built a zero trust architecture, which is the opposite of traditional castle and moat security. And that's why we are being used. It's like moving away from traditional internal combustion engine cars to electric cars. So when the architecture is right, you can build much better solutions. When legacy vendors try to extend their solution with a wrong architecture, it just doesn't work. So our customers, when you talk to Siemens, Johnson Controls of the world, they actually get on the stage and talk about how Zscaler has helped them with their transformation. So I would say the architecture, the platform is setting us apart, and we are innovating at a very fast pace. In the past 2 years, we have added a lot more functionality, a lot more solutions that we can sell to our customers to simplify the problems and increase the business productivity and agility.
And even though you are seeing such huge growth, it sounds like there's still a pretty big untapped market out there.
We are in the early innings of the cloud journey. Okay. When I started this company in 2008, my first slide was, we want to build a Salesforce of cloud security. We actually done very well. But if you look at what we have only about 25% of the global 2,000 companies. There's a 75% market that's still sitting out there. And we are not just limited to global 2000. The large enterprise space globally is a big opportunity. There's federal market in the US. We got certifications at the highest level to serve the US market. Then we recently put more focus in Japan. Japan is a big market. So we are very bullish. We are investing and we are solving our customers. Our customers are very happy, and that really is driving our growth.
And shifting gears here a little bit, IBD looks at institutional sponsorship in stocks, and Zscaler has high quality mutual fund ownership. So broadly speaking, can you talk to us about Zscaler's relationship with the investment community? I mean, clearly the company has some quite impressive institutional backing.
I believe part of the backing has to do with our engagement with large enterprises. Institutional investors look at large customers, how they're solving their problem, who are they buying, what are they buying. And our customers always speak very highly of us. There's something called Net Promoter Score that customers give you. That's kind of the satisfaction survey to recommend a vendor. Our NPS score is 76. A typical and average SaaS company is about 30. So large investors talking to customers and understanding the architectural difference, because they're sophisticated, they're savvy. They engage with us, they understand the difference, and that's how they put their money where they believe the opportunity is. And there's a fair amount of engagement we go through, and we face our own challenges because our legacy vendors try to spread misinformation about what all their architecture can do. But sophisticated investors get it, and we are pleased with the relationship with those investors.
Well, Jay, we really appreciate your perspective today. Best of luck to you and Zscaler.
Lisa, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And coming up next, we're getting insights from Etsy's CFO about the e-commerce company's estimate beating quarter. That's after the break.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to IBD Live.
Okay, here we go.
IBD 50 member Etsy crushed analyst estimates for the fourth quarter, reporting a third quarter in a row of triple-digit growth for both the top and bottom lines. Joining me now to provide a closer look at what's behind these strong gains and what's ahead is Etsy CFO Rachel Glazer. Thanks for being here today, Rachel.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So first, 2020 was a huge year for Etsy. Gross merchandise sales more than doubled, as did the company's revenue. Etsy was in growth mode, of course, even before the pandemic, but that growth has really accelerated over the last year.
It was a really transformative year for Etsy. When the whole world changed, Etsy really stepped up to create even more opportunities for small businesses. We did over $740 million of mask sales alone in 2020, but we also outpaced e-commerce overall by 2.5 times. So our 2020 GMS crossed $10 billion for the first time in 2020 and grew over 106%. So our underlying business really grew as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like this explosion of growth really required Etsy to scale up the business. So can you detail for us the journey from a corporate strategy perspective on that front?
Yeah, we in 2020, we had 2 times more new buyers in the year before. We also reactivated millions of new buyers as well. So new plus reactivated buyers in the fourth quarter alone grew almost 100%. And so one of the things that we've been doing is really leaning into our marketing and product initiatives to really remind people that Etsy is here. Many people have experienced Etsy. In fact, when you talk to customers who haven't been to Etsy for over a year, they don't even know that that they have lapsed. They think that they're Etsy customers, but they don't remember why to come to Etsy and when to come to Etsy. So in a moment when Etsy, for instance, was the only place where you could find face masks for a while, it reminded everybody that Etsy has this tremendous depth and breadth of products. And so we've really leaned into our marketing and product to bring more people back to Etsy. And when they get there, to convert them better with really improved product experience. So we've seen a lot of improvement, not only in the amount of customers coming to Etsy, but the increase in frequency. So for instance, one of the metrics we talked a lot about on our recent earnings call was that our fastest growing segment is what we call our habitual buyers that come to Etsy 6 or more times in a year and spend $200 or more. That segment grew over almost 160%. And the percentage of repeat buyers, those that are coming to us 2 times a year, the percentage that became habitual buyers in the quarter grew 11%, up from 7% in the quarter before. So we're seeing a lot more frequency of people remembering why Etsy and when Etsy.
And let's drill down a little bit more into that breadth and depth that you mentioned. What product categories is Etsy experiencing the most growth? How do you see that playing out over the next year?
So our top 6 categories drive 80% of our total gross merchandise sales. And those top 6 grew over 85%. So that excludes all those mask sales. Etsy's growth overall in the year was up over 100%. In the quarter, it was up 118%. The top 6 include the biggest category is home furnishings and home decor. And it had some tremendous growth in the quarter. So just on the 5 days alone from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, grew over 220%. In fact, that category was over 40% of the gross merchandise sales in the UK. So we're seeing really strong growth for the year. It grew over 100% as well. Some of the other large categories include clothing and jewelry, and those also grew really well, over 60-70% in those categories. But you could see those are a headwind to Etsy's overall growth. So even though they're growing really nicely, those categories post-pandemic will have a lot of opportunity for growth. So we're seeing, broad growth in all of our top 6 categories. As a reminder, there's 50 other categories that we're in. And those obviously are growing more than the 85% growth that the top 6 had. So those are really contributing to Etsy's overall growth as well.
And on that habitual buyer front, you mentioned home furnishings, home decor being some pretty big drivers there on the category side. How do you continue to steal market share away from those really big competitors in those groups, when we go beyond the pandemic?
Etsy really has always stood for something special. First of all, our mission is to keep commerce human. And one thing that Etsy has that many other e-commerce merchants don't have is a seller on the other end of every transaction. There's really a human connection. For instance, I was just buying a baby gift for a colleague, and the item that I wanted was going to take a few weeks, but I was able to message the seller and ask, what do you have that's already in stock? And she was able to respond. We were able to work together to figure out what was ready to ship and get that item over to the recipient. And it always comes with a handwritten note from the seller. So it's a different kind of transaction. Overall, we outpaced e-commerce by 2.5 times. So there's, even though e-commerce is growing, Etsy is growing faster. Now we know we're getting some tailwind from the current environment that we're in. So right now people are, all of e-commerce is getting some benefit from people not being able to shop offline. But we actually think that post-pandemic we're hoping to be able to maintain our growth versus e-commerce because of that special that we have, that you can really find almost anything. You can think of anything that you might search for on any other mass e-tailer today. Try searching for it on Etsy and you're very likely to find it. Only ours will be made especially for you to your specification, and come with a little something extra because you're supporting an individual entrepreneur on the other end of that sale.
And speaking of search, I know you're talking about search when you're on the Etsy platform, but can you provide a little bit of information of maybe what kind of success that you're seeing on the Google search front and getting customers? What share of people are coming to Etsy for the first time through Google search?
Yeah, well, we talk about our investment in marketing, but let me first mention by saying that about 80% of our GMS, our gross merchandise sales, comes to us from unpaid efforts. So half of that is just organic, www.etsy.com. So people are remembering the brand and coming to us directly. And the other part of that free is coming to us through our efforts in brand marketing, in our SEO efforts, in our email and CRM efforts. So about 21% of our total gross merchandise sales in the fourth quarter came to us from our paid efforts. So from us using our performance marketing tools through Google and Facebook and others to drive traffic to Etsy's site. One thing that we did in May of last year was introduced a product that we call offsite ads, which is really a way for us to cooperatively market with our sellers. So we place the product listing ads, and when a seller's listing has a successful sale, a seller will pay for that, a little bit extra for that particular transaction. And that helps us, it increases LTV so that we have more spending power at the same level of ROI. So we get about 21% of all the sales coming from a Google type listing, and about 80% is coming to us organically.
And looking ahead, we just saw Etsy wrap up a very strong 2020. As you look ahead to 2021 and you're planning out the year, what are some of the things that you're thinking about to build on the success that you had last year?
So we're continuing to invest heavily on both product and marketing, with frequency metrics as one of the important metrics that we're using to measure growth. So we drove a lot of new buyers in the year. So that was an important metric. But we want the repeat visitation and the repeat purchase behavior from those new buyers. So both our marketing efforts and our product efforts together are working to improve frequency. Some of the areas we're working especially hard on are our search capabilities and on our post-purchase experience. So both being able to find an item more easily, and once the customer finds the item they want, we want to build the trust that they know that they're going to get the item on time, and that they know what to do when they receive it if it wasn't what they were expecting. On search, with 80 million items, it's the habitual buyers, they sort of have it figured out, what words to use to find exactly what they want. So we're trying to get search to be better and better so that we can take some of those qualities that a habitual buyer knows how to use to find things, and be able to use more inference and close that semantic gap so people don't have to guess at the right words to use to find exactly what their item is. So we're making a lot of improvements on the search front. I'll also add here that Etsy's mission, as I said, is to keep commerce human, and it's been very much a part of our DNA to have goals about our environmental, our economic, and our social impact. And we're very transparent about what those goals are. And we put them, actually file all of our impact goals in our 10K, along with our annual report. And so we've put goals in the last year. Etsy and its sellers created $13 billion of economic value and added over 2.5 million jobs, for instance, into the ecosystem. And we also almost doubled the percentage of our leadership that is underrepresented minorities. We really also care about gender diversity, and over 60% of Etsy's leadership are female. And on the environmental side, we have gone all the way to putting out a 2030 goal to have net zero emissions. So we're really, those goals are really important to us, and we'll continue to work on them in 2021.
Well, those are some big goals, and Etsy saw a lot of success in 2020. So best of luck to you in the year ahead. Rachel, thank you so much for talking all things Etsy with us today.
Thank you.
And after the break, we're getting an update on Adobe's enterprise cloud business. Stay tuned.
IBD Digital gives you access to our premium content.
The best of Investors Business Daily.
A team with decades of experience serving up actionable investing content, a sophisticated tool set to facilitate your own deep dives, and educational resources that will give you an edge in the stock market. We have over 100 years of stock market data, all focused on one thing: what makes a winning stock.
We're taking the guesswork out of investing. Subscribe now to build a better portfolio and make more money in the stock market.
Adobe is one of IBD's long-term leaders, meaning it's a company with a solid track record of strong, stable earnings and sales growth, and stock action that outperforms the market over extended periods as well. So we wanted to check in with the software leader's Executive Vice President and General Manager of Adobe Experience Cloud, Anil Chakravarti. Thanks so much for joining me today, Anil.
My pleasure. Thank you, Alyssa.
All right, so first, walk us through how the pandemic has shifted Adobe's priorities. 2020, of course, was a very monumental year and required a lot of companies to rework their strategy. So walk us through that for Adobe.
Yeah, when the pandemic hit, like many other companies, we focused first on our employee well-being and safety, making sure everybody was okay and well set up to work from home, and all of our 23,000 plus employees around the world, making sure that they were able to do that. And then we immediately turned to customers. One of the things that we had to do within the first couple of weeks was to turn our Summit conference, which is our annual conference in Las Vegas for over 25,000 people, had to become virtual within a matter of weeks. So we had to go all virtual, and it started from there. And so one of the big things that we did was to really focus on what customers wanted to do with their customers. So our enterprise customers really wanted to focus on customer engagement, taking care of their customers, making sure that they were reaching out to them in a personalized manner, and adapting to the changed realities of not being able to interact in person and being able to arrange new ways of communicating and transacting with their customers. And that's really where we focus. So that was the adaptation. It went pretty quickly in 2020.
So let's drill down a little bit more about what Adobe is doing specifically to help its clients meet those new needs.
Yeah, so we focus within the Adobe Experience Cloud, we focus on three key areas: helping customers with their online and digital content and digital commerce, helping them with understand their customers with customer data and insights across the entire customer journey, and then managing that customer journey, the digital customer journey, as well as the customer journey that intersects with their online and offline presence. All of that we deliver out of a common platform called the Adobe Experience Platform. So we really help our customers engage with their customers and deliver that customer experience management through a next generation technology platform.
Yeah, customer experience management, so increasingly important in this digital age, and a lot of shifting habits for consumers over the last year. So how do you think Adobe's product line in the Experience Cloud can be differentiated from what other enterprise clients can get elsewhere?
Yeah, so first of all, let's just start with content. The content has to be personalized, it has to be relevant, it has to be at the right time, in real time, to the right customer or the right prospect, whether they are on a mobile app, whether they are on a website, whether they're talking to somebody from the company. You have to have the right content, and that is where Adobe is a clear leader. We also focus on turning every experience into potentially a shoppable experience. So how do you have the commerce well aligned with the content? So that's one of the key areas that Adobe focuses on, and a number of our customers have taken advantage of that. You then look at the entire customer journey end to end. When you look at the customer data, Adobe has long been the leader in analytics. When customers come to websites, what do they actually do on the websites? And how do you take that information when you look at our holiday index, or when you look at any of the transactions we have? We have trillions of transactions that customers are doing every month with us. And we enable customers to take advantage of that information and make sure that they have the right offer to the customer, whether it's the next best action in terms of helping the customer in their purchase, or understand what next best offer they can put in to the customer, which is a personalized offer. So those are some of the examples of things that Adobe does that are very unique and that really help our customers engage with their customers, whether it's a B2B company or a B2C company, and do that, with adapting to the pandemic, so that you can do it both online and offline where it makes sense.
Right. So taking a step back here and talking about the cloud computing market and the digital transformation at the enterprise level, where do you think that we are in terms of the growth opportunity for that market?
We've obviously seen a huge increase in digital engagement and digital commerce, but we're still in the early innings. A lot of customers, and we've seen that, for example, take traditional retailers. We have a number of retailers that we work with who were they had an online presence, but they were still doing a lot of their business through their stores. And what we've seen now is an explosion of innovation where either their online sales have moved dramatically up, or they have a hybrid model where you can buy online and then you can come and pick up curbside, for example. These are all innovations that people have done just in the last year or so. And so we think we are still in the early stages of that explosion of digital commerce, digital engagement, and a new version of digital experiences.
So bringing it back to Adobe, from the Experience Cloud, where do you think, from a business strategy perspective, are there more gains to be made?
Well, we focus on everybody from the largest enterprises. We serve pretty much everybody among the largest enterprises in every vertical, all the way down to mid-sized companies, because everybody needs that. So from Adobe's perspective, especially from the perspective of the Adobe Experience Cloud, we focus on helping any size company, any size organization, whether it's a B2B company or a B2C company, really put up that digital storefront, that digital front end that really helps them build that next generation of customer experience. And it's not just about the digital storefront. based on Adobe's own experience with what we call our data-driven operating model, which is the entire customer life cycle from how they discover the company's products to how they try them, buy them, use them, and then renew them in a subscription manner. We help our customers with that entire end-to-end journey as well. So that's how we are interacting, and we are serving a very broad swath of customers globally.
Well, harnessing data is extremely important for any enterprise, and Adobe's definitely in the thick of that. So thank you so much, Anil, for your insights today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, everyone, for watching this episode of Investing Strategies for Investors Business Daily. I'm Alyssa Coram. Hi there. Thanks so much for watching Investing Strategies on our YouTube channel. If you want more executive interviews and analysis of key trends to watch, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date.